I think the effort to suggest that the poor are sponges, leeches, don't want to work, are lazy, are undeserving, got traction. And look, it's still being propagated. I mean, I have to say that, if you watch Fox News on a regular basis, it is a constant menu. They will find, like, folks who make me mad. I don't know where they find them, right? They're all like...
Well, I knew it. We did it. If this country's got problems, chances are Fox News caused them.
I think it's fair to say that I don't always get my most favorable coverage on Fox.
Rupert Murdoch, who owns Fox News. Let's just say he doesn't have an Obama sticker on his car. Those of you who are watching certain news channels that, on which I'm not very popular. I don't know, I was watching Fox News and they said this horrible.
We are that and then some. Welcome, everybody. I'm Neil Cavuto. And for a president who insists he really doesn't watch Fox, he sure does seem obsessed with Fox, and for good reason. Because time for me to fess up. He's right. If it's bad, it's Fox. It's me. And if it's a lot bigger, then you know it's us to review. That missing Malaysian jetliner they still can't find? Fox News. That drought in California? Fox. Sticking it to Jerry Brown. That asteroid that hit Russia a couple of years back? Fox's little warning to Vladimir Putin. The Kennedy assassination, that was a Fox News cameraman in the grassy knoll. Now you know. Now I know what you're thinking. Fox News wasn't even around back then. 2 words: time travel. Because that was also Fox News and Abraham Lincoln's booth. And the Titanic? Yeah, we sunk it. Wanted environmentalists to just think about it. The Hindenburg? Fox. Earthquakes? Fox. Hurricanes? Fox. Petulance and famine? Fox and Fox. The dinosaurs wiped off the planet? Fox News. Cued the comet. The plague? Fox. The Inquisition? Fox. MSNBC? Not Fox. That one was like a gift. But I'm telling you, most everything else awful was pretty much exclusively us. So now you know. So what is a nation to do to Charles Payne and Adam Lashinsky and Dagan McDowell and Charlie Gasparino?
I'm crying, dude.
Curiously, my friend Ben Stein isn't here this week. Curious. I'll leave it at that. But enough about him. Charles Payne back to us. The president's on to us, which means he is on to you. What do you think?
Yeah, they're definitely on to me. Okay, and his minions have let me know. But yeah, listen, it's one thing the president says that Fox News is the leading proponent out there, sort of casting the poor as sponges, as leeches, as users. But I tell you what. On the other end of the spectrum, without a doubt, President Obama is the leading voice in the sense that someone born poor in this country, particularly black and poor, have no chance. That they have zero opportunity to pull themselves up by the bootstraps, that they're somehow an astronaut shot into space, no gravity, nothing to hold on to, nothing to grab onto, no way to control their own destiny. And to me, that's a bigger crime.
What do you think, Gaspar?
Now I know why I worked here. We were responsible for all that pretty good
Absolutely.
stuff.
I left out the 100 Years' War, but it would have taken a lot of time.
Right.
Ebola.
St. Valentine's Day Massacre.
Sure.
I will say this. What's interesting about President Obama, I mean, you would think a man of his intelligence, which I think he has great intelligence, has a lot of researchers, could have come up with that whole list about how bad we were, how badly we comment on poor people by himself. But he didn't. Guess where he got it from? He got it from Media Matters. Okay, Media Matters is that left-wing, I don't even know what they're sort of a commentary that dedicates a lot of stuff about Fox. They came out with a list, which I made, by the way, I was very happy. I actually made the last item on beating up on the poor. They came out with this list, 14, I think Charles was in it like 25 times. They came out with this long list, which said, the greatest hits against the poor. That was picked up by Jon Stewart.
Absolutely.
And that was picked. So this is where President Obama is getting his cue from, the far left.
What do you make of that, Dagan?
I think he likes attention, and he knows he's going to get it from liberals, because this is political rhetoric, and he's going to get it from the very news channel that he openly despises, right? He likes negative attention and positive attention. But if you want to focus on poverty in this country, he has done more to transfer money to the poor and to these programs, whether it's food stamps, whether it's getting more people on disability, whether it was large parts of the stimulus, whether it was Obamacare. You still have wages that are not keeping up with inflation, median household income not rebounding with the economic recovery, and inequality that's greater today than it was several years ago. Period.
Period is right. Now, Adam, I know the only time you watch Fox News is when you're on it, like now. But I know you like that other channel. But here's what I'm kidding. But here's what I found interesting in the president's comments. And you know, everyone can be thin-skinned. I mean, and they're entitled to that. I am, for sure. But even when MSNBC took him on this trade deal, he pointed that out. So even a very friendly channel to him, when someone disagrees with him, you know, he points it out. Now look, we all are sensitive to criticism, some more than others, but I'm telling you, there's a pattern to this behavior and a pattern to how he reacts when anyone, even on his side, questions him, whether it's Elizabeth Warren or Liz. You know what I mean? That is what I find very telling and very, very revealing.
Well, I don't disagree. I mean, presidents are notoriously thin-skinned about their press coverage. This one is no different than the ones who came before.
Yeah, but they kept it quiet. John Kennedy kept it quiet. If he had a problem, he whined and moaned about it to his staff. Ronald Reagan too, famously, you think of affable and all. He had many annoying sessions with his chief of staff talking about it, but not in public.
And I also was going to go to Reagan, and you brought up Kennedy. These were two lovers of the media. You know, these were two presidents who consumed the media, who interacted with the media, you know, aggressively, playfully, seriously, and so on. I actually think, Neil, sort of taking the high road on this conversation, if I might, given my perspective, that the president got it wrong. That, you know, the conversation that I find that we have very frequently on our program, for example, and that Dagan just brought up, is that we tend to have a tone in our discussions that the government is always the problem, that Obama is always the problem, his administration is always the problem, and that we need a lot less of that, and they do a bad job. I think that's what he should have harped on. He should have said, you guys just assume I'm wrong. You assume we're wrong all the time, and let's talk about that.
Let's be clear why he's mad, because for many years, you know, you had one debate going on. Listen, I worked in the quote-unquote mainstream media, Wall Street Journal, on the reporting side, Newsweek magazine.
You still do work in the mainstream media,
understand, but I was not on the editorial page, is what I'm saying. And you know, it was one way of thinking.
Well, what were you delivering them?
I delivered them too. Okay, I think one year, one of my jobs in high school. But you know, there was only one voice, and that was center left. That was in the media. Fox came along and actually provided the other side, and that's what the liberals are so mad about. That's what President Obama. There's actually one network that actually questions some of the dopey things that he does.
And not that we have to cover our own fannies here, but we rip spending abuse on the part of Republicans and Democrats. That's neither here nor there. I expect us to be thin-skinned and, you know, pay attention when it's about us. I kind of have a different standard for my presidents, whether Republican or Democrat. And I know these latest remarks are in the context of what, an hour and a half speech talking about poverty, whatever, but it immediately glommed to us and a discussion about us. And I just think, all right, that's all well and good, but in the end, it comes back to, are you delivering the goods? Are you, Mr. President, working with Congress or failing to work with Congress, or Congress failing to work with you, getting it done?
Right. Are your programs and your efforts changing inequality in this country? No, you didn't focus on economic growth. Instead, you focused on inequality. Inequality, to paraphrase the Wall Street Journal, inequality got worse, and the economy is still struggling to grow. I want to point this out. Wait, let me just say, because he's thin-skinned. I've said this before, like my grandmother. He always says, let me be clear, because we're all too stupid to understand what he's saying when we disagree with him. So it's basically like, either you agree with me. If you don't agree with me, then you're a big dum-dum. That's his message.
Liberal politicians are not.
Let me just make this point.
Liberal politicians are not used to having those points that you pointed out, pointed out to them on a big level, on a national stage. I mean, the opposition to left-wing progressive thought was one guy on Crossfire, Bob Novak, you know, the Prince of Darkness.
I do know a lot of thin-skinned conservatives.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that liberal politicians are not used to the media actually critiquing.
Well, they should be now.
Okay,
but go ahead, Adam.
But Charlie, That's not new news, right? That's exactly what I was. I think they've gotten the point. I think that part is obvious.
Well, that's why he's so mad.
I would say that. First of all, obviously the president is flattering Fox News by mentioning Fox News, but you know what? He really can't win. If he doesn't have this sort of playful exchange and take jabs, people are going to say, why can't you be a regular guy? At the same time, the president should be taking the high road.
It's a bigger story here.
He should be talking about policy, not going after one news outlet.
I agree. And there's a bigger story.
That's a waste of time.
There's a bigger story here. Liberal politicians, until Fox News, were not used to having their feet held to the fire. If you look at what's going on in New York City now, it's astounding. Our very, very progressive
Fox News isn't new anymore, Charlie.
I know, but that's why they're still mad. And it's only 1 against a million. And I'm just saying this. You look at what's going on in New York City, our very progressive mayor, Comrade Bill de Blasio, is touring the country. Touring the country while there's murders on the uptick in New York City. You don't really read too much about that.
No.
Except for the New York Post.
What was that nonsense you said about me in 1988? Anyway, if these fast food workers think unions have their bag, they might want to look at how one union just kicked some of its own in the ass